Welcome to Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly with host Nancy Becker on Global Voice Radio. Nancy and her guests will share tips and recommendations on moving forward in your life and business now and not waiting till pigs fly. Here's your host, Nancy Becker.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another version of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast where we talk to and with business owners who are sharing their knowledge and their expertise with us all so that we don't have to sit back waiting for those darn pigs to fly, but we can get out there, do our thing, rock it, and soar higher. Today, we're talking with Susan Bock, who is a business success strategist for women entrepreneurs who want their business to work for them and to achieve the income to support their lifestyle. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Nancy, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to talk to you and to hear some of the things you have to share. I was doing a little research, I have to be honest, and I was on your Facebook page a little while ago because I wanted to make sure that I was able to talk intelligently. And I'm going, wow, she's a really cool lady. She knows a lot of the same people I know. That means we've got a vibe going here, you know?
Absolutely. I agree with that, Nancy, completely. From the first time we connected, I felt that way.
Well, and that's what I so love about doing this is I'm working with people that, and I just got goosebumps. I'm working with people that I like. You know, the thing about doing something like this and being in business is, and the whole concept of an ideal client or something is to be able to work with people you like.
Exactly.
You know,
and not only people we like, but also enjoy the interaction that we're having with them. It becomes a win-win.
Absolutely. And you know, I've had one or two, and I've been doing that. You are now my 35th interview.
Oh, wow.
I've been doing this for 35 weeks now, and I'm going, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It is.
I think, and in terms of people doing podcasts, I'm still a baby. But I've been thinking, and I think there's only been 2 times in those 35 weeks that I've talked with someone that I'm going, oh, geez, let's get this hour over with. The rest of the time, I've enjoyed it just as much as any of my listeners. I've really enjoyed talking to the people and learning about them and about you and just figuring out what it is that we all have to offer. I think is just really incredible. And I think it's when you start zooming in on when you're talking to people and different things like that, it becomes readily apparent who you connect with and who you don't connect with.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
That focus, that connection, excuse me, that the opportunity to meet someone where they are with no agenda other than curiosity is, to me, the foundation on which you can build a lasting relationship. And that's really what this is all about, isn't it? Is creating lasting relationships with our prospective clients, our current clients, with our colleagues, like-minded people, heart-centered entrepreneurs. It's all about the relationship.
Absolutely. And I think, wasn't it Anza Goodbar that connected the two of us?
Yes.
She was one of my interviewers, and she and I have connected in so many ways just since having that conversation. We're going to be joint partnering on things next year. We're just doing, and it's all because we had the opportunity to talk and get to know each other. And you kind of just fall into relationships when you're open to anything and everything that's out there. I love it.
I do too, Nancy. And what I have found in my adventure that I refer to as my life, my journey, is that when I have to work at a relationship, when there's effort, considerable effort, I should say, then that says to me that it's not a good fit. I've learned to listen to my intuition, and instead of falling victim to the false belief or the limiting belief that everyone needs to like me, it's becoming very respectful and easy for me to say that this is just not a good fit for you and I don't need to have that relationship. I don't need to force myself to work at it. And simultaneously, the balance to that is what you've just mentioned, is when you meet someone that you just connect with right away, it is so easy and effortless. And that to me is the lasting relationship. That's the key.
Yeah. I think I could say if we were closer together, I'd say, hey, you know what, Susan, we need to go have a cup of coffee. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yes.
And we could talk for hours and just really, be in the whole zone and everything, where other people I'm going, I don't want to spend 5 minutes having a cup of coffee.
And that's really a challenge, Nancy, when those people are your clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a real challenge. And I have experienced that myself on rare occasion, fortunately. And that was more in the early days of my business. I started my business in 2001. And I used to think that I had to accept every prospect as a client. And oh my gosh, some of those interactions were painful. It was not something that I loved to do. I didn't look forward to it. I didn't feel good about the interaction at the conclusion of our time together. And that some of those unfortunate mistakes, or maybe they were fortunate, have helped me really clarify and fine-tune my focus and establish some very healthy boundaries that say, yes, we are a good fit. Or if I've had a discovery call with someone and it just doesn't feel like it's a good fit, to have the courage to say, I really respect where you are, and I don't think that I'm the right person to work with you, and I'd be happy to refer you to someone else.
Yeah, and I know, and this is totally off base from what we were going to talk about, but I want to pursue this for a little while because I think it's really an important concept for businesses, particularly women businesses. I don't see that a lot of men have the same amount of trouble telling somebody go away.
I would agree with that.
We as women, I think, want to serve,
Yes.
and we want, but it's also, I think it's also, and I have one, she's a friend, she's a client, and I want to break her neck because she won't listen to me. But
Right.
I cannot get through her head that there really is, and I've got to coin a new word because I don't like target, I don't like ideal client. There needs to be a different word for that. But she says every single person in the world wants and will buy what it is she has to offer.
Oh dear.
And I tell her and I tell her and I tell her and I try to show her examples, and nope, she's just not listening to me. But it's also, I think, because she's so into the I've got to make money.
Yes.
Of it. So there's two things going on. There's I've got to serve all these people, but yet I'm in business and I have to make money. It's money, it's money, it's money. How do you how do you connect with people like this and get them to understand that they're doing themselves a disservice by having that mentality?
That's a great question. A couple of responses I will share with you on that, Nancy. And the first one is to ask them, is that approach giving you the results you want? And obviously the answer is going to be no. So then the sequence then goes into, would you be willing to entertain a new approach or a new concept. So coming from the premise, as I mentioned earlier, of meeting them where they are, what they've been doing, the activities they've engaged in, the marketing or the approach they've used is not giving them the results they want. So what are the results that you want? And let's see what we can explore to discover some approaches that may give you the results that you want. One of my mentors for years has been Seth Godin, and he's, I think, written 19 books now. His most recent book is called This is Marketing. And it's fabulous. And what I so appreciate him doing is he is not following mainstream marketing messaging, the typical approach. He is very unique, and I find that quite refreshing. And his premise for this book is to effectively market, you need to talk to people, your avatar, your ideal client. So the question is, identify 100 people that are your ideal client. Because quite honestly, for most of us in a service business, we can't handle 100 clients at a time. That's too much. But if we're saying we're marketing to millions, well, we're really not. He calls this the magical 100. So create that relationship, as you and I were talking about before, with 100 people. If you can narrow your target to 100, or maybe depending on the price point that you're at, maybe you can focus down on 50 people. And know everything you can about those 50 people, their demographics, their psychographics, their purchase cycle, their behaviors. Meet them where they are, speak their language, not your language, not mine, but their language. And then you will have 50 loyal fans who will willingly share your message with their people. And that's how you build a following, is to start out with just 50, with just 100, the smallest number you need to sustain the business and the life that you desire. And then you can upscale it once you have that foundation in place. So that's part of my whole approach now to business. In fact, just a few days ago, I woke up with the first two words that came to mind were streamline and simplify.
I saw that on your Facebook.
Yes. So keep it so incredibly focused, because it's very tempting for us to, well, I shouldn't say us, for me, to totally spin out and get distracted and go down one rabbit hole after another, because I'm a solopreneur. I'm in my office at home alone most of the day. And that distraction can absolutely devour my time and energy. However, if I'm incredibly focused and keep that narrow clarity, then it becomes much easier to say no to the distractions and to achieve the results that I say I want to achieve.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Is that helpful?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for some people, though, I love what you're saying, but I think it needs to go even a little bit deeper than that for some people, because I truly, if I'm using this person as an example, I truly think, on one hand, I hear her talking about how busy she is, and she never thought she wanted to be this busy, and she's working all the time, and she's not able to do this and that and the other thing because she's working all the time. Yet she's talking about how much she loves what she's doing. And if you were to say to her, is what you're doing giving you the results you want? I think she would say yes.
Well, is it giving her the financial results she wants?
She's making more money than she has made in 12 years.
Well, that's fabulous for her.
But she's still complaining about being so busy, and she's one of the reasons why she's so busy is she's spending all of this time marketing to the people that aren't going to buy what it is
right.
she's doing. but she doesn't get, and I think a lot of other people don't get, when you talk to them about ideal clients, their eyes roll into the back of their head.
Right.
And they're just going, I don't want to listen, because she's under such a concept that everybody wants what it is that she has to sell. She can't get past the point of saying, if you find that person that you were just talking about, understanding their demographics, understanding all of those things, she would be much less busy, but she would be making more money.
Absolutely. That's right. So it really comes down to the two choices, Nancy, and I've been on both sides of these choices. I've made the wrong choices and the right choices. You can either have a business that works for you, or you can work for your business. And it sounds like she enjoys working for her business, and that's great. That's her choice. That's her preference. I tried that, and it about killed me.
No.
So today, in the last probably now 5 or 6 years, I've been able to completely redesign my business and my business beliefs so that I now have a business that works for me. And I truly am the CEO. I love that expression, the CEO of not only of my business, but of my life. Because I don't want to be tied or confined by my business. I want to define what my business is going to do for me.
Amen. And that's what I've been working with in my mastermind programs. One of the things I've been working with my clients on is we do a lot of training. It's not just the hot seats. And
good.
We do 3/4 of the time that we're together, it's in training sessions, and then people talking about questions and how do they do, and they all this kind of stuff. But what we've been talking about is creating exactly what you're saying, creating the processes and strategies that allow us to have more time, which gives us the time to do the things that we want that makes more money.
Right. I'm as I said, I've been at this now for about 18 years, Nancy, and almost 90%, I think 92% of the women that I have worked with, when I ask them why did they start their business, one of the top 3 reasons is because they wanted freedom. They wanted freedom to live their life, to be able to do things with their family on a Wednesday afternoon if they wanted to, or the freedom to, not be encumbered by the 9 to 5. So, and yet most of my clients come to me because they don't have that freedom. Their business has truly taken over their life.
Yeah, I see that, and I see that for myself. And I got to the point with, as most people that listen to this podcast know, I'm pretty limited in what I can do. I was in an accident, and I'm in this house. So, my freedom is doing things like having the afternoon off to sit and watch Jumanji, which I'm taping right now because I don't get to see it, So, yeah, that means a lot. But I was so involved in doing everything. And it's all focused on this computer because I can't get out to do it.
Right.
And I'm spending from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, in front of the computer trying to get everything done. And I finally said, enough of this. I don't want this. And so I'm working on creating, I have a wonderful VA, and she's helping me figure out these processes. We've just found Trello, and we're using that, which is a time management and just a project management piece of software for anybody that doesn't know. I'm not affiliated with it in any way. I just think it's a great program for, you can use it for something as simple as a to-do list all the way up to, I don't think there's any limitation really on the different things you can do with it. And we've just found that, and we're setting that up, and we're creating we found Zapier, and we're creating all these zaps to do things so that when someone calls me, it can go to here or it can go to there, and people can sign up for, and it's so nice to be able to just say, I don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
It took probably one process that I'm now using for my podcasts. It probably took us 4 months to figure out how to do it. Of hard work, trying to, create this, test it. This isn't going to work. Go back to the drawing board, test it again until we got it exactly the way we wanted it to. But guess what? We don't have to do a thing now. It's right. All automated. And the only thing I have to do is have wonderful conversations with people.
And I can say from my perspective, you've made this so easy, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I enjoy doing these so much. But this is something I enjoy doing. I don't necessarily enjoy the scheduling and the filling out the forms that I have to do at the end of this to get it online. And, those are the things that I don't really want to have to do. So we've got them all automated now so that I get to do what I want to do, which is talk to you. And, so it's really nice. But again, people will say, oh, I don't have the time to figure that out. It took you 4 months. And I said, yeah, but for the rest of my life that I'm doing podcasts, I'm not going to have to do anything. That 4 months was well worth it,
Absolutely.
Or it costs so much money and I don't have that kind of money to spend on a VA. And I'm going, okay, would you rather spend $15 an hour, to have somebody else do this and this and this and allow you the freedom to do what you want and actually make the money, or do you want to sit there doing the and I don't want to say less important because it's all important work, but less financially important maybe, the things that you do should be of higher value financially.
Right. So you've hit on one of the key success points for having a business that works for you, Nancy, and that is having systems that work for you. And what I often encounter with women entrepreneurs, particularly those who are just entering into this wild, wacky, wonderful world, is thinking that I need to do it all myself. And that is not the case. That I think is an easy trap to fall into. I did myself when I first started. And what I came to understand is that there are some things, as you just mentioned, Nancy, that we each do that is very easy for us. And it gives us great joy and satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment. Those are the things we need to do. And there are things that we don't do as well, or that require an effort or a skill set that we really just don't care about. So one of the activities that I take my new clients through is to make a list of the things that you really love to do, that you do with ease and with grace, that give you a sense of fulfillment. And what oftentimes occurs is they'll say to me, well, I do this really well, but because I'm so good, or it's so easy for me to do, it's not important. Well, that is exactly the opposite. When it is easy for you to do, that's part of your uniqueness. That's part of the skill set that you want to tap into every single day. So there might be days where I'm more involved in high income generating activities. There are other days when I'm involved in the infrastructure of my business, which sounds kind of odd to say when I'm a solopreneur, but yes, I have an infrastructure to my business. There are aspects of that detail and specificity that I absolutely love. Creating an Excel spreadsheet and doing the charting and the marketing calendar and what am I going to market when. I love the logistics and the planning of that. So I'm not going to give that up because it gives me a great sense of fulfillment and enjoyment. At the same time, when it comes to accounting, egads. I'm going to be bald if I have to do that. So by all means, that's delegated to a VA. So So part of the efficiency in setting up your systems and your processes and designing the infrastructure of your business is knowing what you love to do, what you want to do, and what you don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, because I think too that if I'm sitting here and I'm going, oh, see, I'm not necessarily one of the ones that likes to do all the infrastructure and the Excels and all of that. I'm very much of a wide-eyed, what can we do, thinking about it kind of thing, and not necessarily putting it down. So I'm probably not going to do that very well.
Exactly.
And it's going to take me a lot longer to do than if I say, an example is, and we're working on it right now, is my website. I hate WordPress. I can't stand WordPress. But my website is in WordPress because that's what everybody uses, and there's so many add-ins and all of this. I sat there and I tried to figure out how to do this WordPress thing. And I was getting angrier and angrier and more frustrated. And I finally said, I don't need a darn website. Just forget the whole thing, And I went for a while without a website until I finally said to my VA, I sure wish I knew somebody who could, who could do this for me. Right. And it's not perfect. We've still got work to do on it, but she did it. She likes WordPress. It's out there, and I don't have to go around saying to anybody who asks me, oh, I don't have a website. It's there. And the relief that I felt because I didn't have to do it.
Yes.
Was immense.
It's a physical relief, it's a mental relief, it's an energetic relief, so that you do have the capacity then to focus on what is going to be your high income, high return time, so that you can continue to stay in business. Because let's face it, unless we're a nonprofit, we need to earn money. We need to have an income to sustain this business if we want to have a successful business. Some people just want a hobby, and that's totally fine. That's terrific for them. But there are those of us who do, in fact, need to generate a sufficient amount of income to support our life and our lifestyle. And with that belief, with that need, then we need to engage in behaviors that are going to fuel not only our bank account, but our soul account as well.
That is so true. And I think that oftentimes people don't understand that. And that's one of the missions that I'm on right now, is to try to get more people to understand these things and to create the business that's going to allow them, as I say, to soar higher.
Exactly. Sometimes I'm asked, what qualifies me to say that I'm a business success strategist?
Can I ask you that?
And I laugh when I'm asked that question, because my response is, the reason I'm qualified is because I have struggled. I have experienced immense disappointment in my business, and it practically failed. So I come from having done everything the wrong way, and going through about a decade of training, of learning, of experiencing disappointing results that I thought I was working so hard and to achieve. And my solution when I didn't get the results I wanted was to work harder, which ultimately led to my failure, not only physically, but also, as I said, financially with the business. So I had to stop and recalibrate and reevaluate and literally redesign my business from the ground up. And so I say what qualifies me to be the success strategist is because I was so unsuccessful. And now I have the success that I dreamed of, because when I went into my business, I was so passionate about the work that I wanted to do and the results that I could share with my clients, which was wonderful, but I didn't have the business acumen, the success formula of how to create a business. Tremendous amount of passion, but not the business mindset or knowledge that I needed to create something that was going to work for me. And that's what I learned the hard way. So now I can share that with clients, and we can shave 10 years off of their learning curve and their disappointments and their struggles and frustrations, and get to success so much more quickly. And that starts with this key question, Nancy, and that question is, what is your definition of success? Because for so many years, I was striving to achieve someone else's definition that I came to accept and acknowledge I really didn't want. That wasn't my definition of success. And in my journey inward, which has been one of the most frightening and fascinating experiences of my lifetime, I discovered that, number one, I was putting success in the future. I would be successful when, or I would feel success when I achieved blank. So I was putting it into the future, and I was constantly striving to attain something that was always in the future. What I realized is that I didn't really want the huge house, the yacht, the car, the multi-week vacation. Those things weren't important to me. What was important to me, and what became my definition of success, is what fuels me and feeds me on a daily basis. And that included living in success every single day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's a small success, it's still a success for today.
You know, it's interesting because we sound so much alike, and I think we have so many of the same values and thoughts about running a business. And one of the things that I do with my mastermind, again, is we have so many do. We have a secret Facebook page where everybody can come on and talk, but it's called One Small Win a Day.
Oh, I love that.
And I can't get them to do it. It's another thing that drives me nuts. But I want them to get on that page every single day if they can, and put, I don't care if their win is getting out of bed in the morning, or
right.
if they made a $50,000 sale. I don't care. I want them to recognize that every day of their lives, they do something, and I call success, I call a win.
Isn't that vital?
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's one of those behaviors that it seems to be so contrary, perhaps again, it's particularly for women, so contrary to the activity that we actually engage in.
Yeah. For me, a win might be getting up and making my husband dinner, because I don't do it. Right. I can't stand in the kitchen and cut up the vegetables and all that kind of stuff, so I don't do it. So a win could be I got up and I did it.
That's right.
And you know how that would make me feel if I did something like that? It would be, and when you validate that with other people, it's that much more powerful.
Well, and don't you think also in sharing it with others that it gives other people inspiration and perhaps insight into what they could do to consider a win?
Absolutely. And that's a part of the whole thing that I'm hoping to accomplish with these people, is to not only validate your own successes, but to help other people realize that they can do them too. It is so important.
It is. And now that I understand how again, it fuels my soul bank, how it feeds that, it's like having a gratitude list.
Yeah.
Every day, write down 2 things or 3 things that you're grateful for. And today it might be, I'm grateful that it's raining outside. And I truly am. But just the behavior, the habit, if you will, of writing down 3 things, and I do this before I go to bed. Every day I have to write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. Well, over a matter of weeks and months, Nancy, you look at that list and it's, wow, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude when I look at my gratitude list.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's funny, and put this down on your calendar, because Anza and I, on the 20th of December, she's my guest speaker on my monthly musings, which is my live Facebook conversation that I have at 6:30 in the evening on one of my groups. And what we're going to be talking about, which I think is fascinating, is she went to some sort of a weekend conference a few weeks ago that was an abundance conference.
Yes.
And she was talking to me yesterday about how she always has thought, and I tend to too, that, this abundance concept is woo-woo and out there, and, it doesn't really think it and it will come kind of thing, doesn't really work. But she went to this conference, and she sat in on one person's presentation, and that's what we're going to talk about in our conversation, because it's talking about how when you do things like that, when you talk about gratitude, when you open your mind to those thoughts, there is a physical reaction that actually creates that abundance, that
yes,
the movement forward.
Yes.
Doing. And I've got degrees in psychology, so I should know this, but I don't. But I think it's fascinating, because it's not just think it and it will happen. You got to get out and do it. But if your mind is open, then it becomes much easier for that to be accomplished.
I definitely will be attending that. So thank you. You said it's on the 20th?
20th at 6:30 Eastern, and it's on my Dream to Reality group on Facebook. I'll let you know. Oh,
please, because I am intrigued with that whole study, because for me, what it comes down to, Nancy, is the flow of the energy. And I have become so respectful of this energetic relationship that we have with the universe. When we are focusing on what we don't have, on lack of what we're missing out on, that is such a low energy frequency, and it's impossible for a higher energy frequency to permeate down to this low energy. We need to raise above at least the neutral level into the higher energetic frequencies of abundance, of gratitude, of appreciation, of willingness and openness, so that the universe can, in fact, access us and tap into our energy, and we can tap into the universe of energy as well.
Right. Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I really do. And I do, though, totally believe, and it goes back into my don't wait for pigs to fly concept, is that,
yes,
if we just sit there and say, as an example, I had an office for a while. Until I got hurt, I've always had a physical brick and mortar facility.
Yes.
That I would go to every day, and I always thought I could never work at home. It just wouldn't work well. But there was a business. I had a downtown Main Street space. I ran a co-work center for a while, and I had this Main Street space, and across the street was a company that I cannot for the life of me to this day figure out what it was she did. But every time I went in there to try to ask her to say, if I know what you do, I can refer you to other people. And her comment was, I don't need your help. I've been in business for 18 years. I can't possibly imagine anything that anybody could do to help me.
Oh my goodness.
3 weeks later, after she said that to me, there was a going out of sales sign on her door.
Oh my.
So, to me, that is, she was not willing to get off her butt and, kick those pigs out of the way and get to work on it. She just wanted to sit there. So, she could say all she wanted, I'm a successful business. That wasn't happening. She had to do something, whether it was talk to me or whatever. She needed to do something to get that business coming in the door. So I do believe that we have to work. We can't just expect it to shower us. But I also do totally believe that if our mind is focused on the negative, we're not going to get anywhere. We need to be focused on this is a good day. Things are good. Things are going to happen. All that kind of stuff. So,
to me, it's the receptivity, being receptive to receiving, and that also opens the door to asking. You alluded to this with the story you just shared with us about the person who was going out of business. Perhaps one of her limiting beliefs, Nancy, is that she couldn't ask for help, or that she didn't want to appear weak by asking for help. And that's some mindset that I can certainly relate to, because that plagued me for years. That was one of the limiting beliefs I was raised with. It is, if you have to ask for help, then that's a sign of weakness. Well, you think about how that can affect your decision making, how it can affect your behavior, how it affected my ability to truly excel in doing what I love to do. Because if I couldn't ask for help, I was restricted by only knowing what I know and making decisions within that very limited awareness, versus saying, there's so much I don't know, and being willing to ask for help so that I can learn and know what I don't know.
So true. And, I think that it's always important to be open and learning at all times. I'm going to be, I've gone to school. I've gotten so many degrees. I've got a million books around. And I said, I'm going to be learning until the day I die, because there's so much to learn. And I certainly don't know everything. And I don't even know a tenth of everything, so you need to keep open to new possibilities and things like that.
It sounds to me like that's another common ground that you and I have, is I am just a curious person, and I am hungry for the knowledge, and you can know the annoyance of a 4-year-old who consistently is asking why. To a degree, I think I still have that 4-year-old with me saying, I'm curious. I ask a tremendous amount of questions because I truly want to know.
Yep, absolutely. You can't really see it here, but I've got 2 bookshelves that are solid packed with business books, and that's only a tenth of what I've got in business books. And I love Barnes and Nobles. I'm probably their number one. I should have stock because I'm constantly buying books there. But, I think there's always something new to learn. And as long as we keep asking whys, we're going to be, much better off. We are coming down to the end of our time, but I did have another couple of questions that I wanted to ask you that we never got to. So I'm going to ask real quick. In your experience, and we may have already talked about this, what is the number one problem that SHIOs have, and how can they avoid it?
I did touch on it. Thank you for the question, because that is one thing that I'm very passionate about. And here it is. I have yet to meet the entrepreneur or the woman business owner who doesn't have passion, who isn't excited about the opportunity of what they can create and the service or the products that they can share with the world. So when we're looking at building a business, and a successful, lucrative business that can be sustained, it's because we have passion, that's our desire, but we may not have the business acumen or knowledge to be able to create the business that's going to allow us to be of service to the people that we want to work with. So the problem is, or the result is, that they are building this business that then begins to dictate their life, and that starts to erode the passion. Because as I mentioned earlier about one of the reasons is we want freedom. Well, when we're working so hard and we don't have the freedom or meeting the other goals that we had when we started our business, it becomes very much a deterrent from having us achieve the goals that we said we wanted, and it erodes our passion. So the solution is to be very clear, and that's what my success formula is all about, is to be very clear on what you want your business to look like, what you want it to do for you, what are the results you want to achieve, and what are you willing to do to make that happen. So when you have this map, when you have the clarity, when you have the formula and the focus, it becomes very easy to make the decisions that are going to give you the results that you want.
Absolutely. That makes so much sense to me, and something that I preach all the time too. So thank you for that. People, I know that Susan would love to work with you if y'all feel that there's a connection. If somebody wanted to reach out to you and see about actually being able to sign on to work with you at some point, doing some of the things you offer, how can they get a hold of you, Susan?
The easiest and fastest way is to go to my website, which is Susan Bock, SUSAN, B as in boy, OCK.com. Go to the contact tab, fill out the very short information we need to schedule a free discovery call with me, and we'll just have a conversation to see if in fact we are a good fit, if in fact I may be able to help you achieve the results that you want, if in fact I can help you overcome some of the obstacles and the struggles that are preventing you from achieving the success that you want. And if I'm not the right person, I will gladly refer you to someone who can be of assistance. And Nancy, that could very well be you.
Wonderful. I love it. Thank you so much. Listen, Susan, this has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for taking this time out of your very busy day to talk to us. You will actually be on the air with us next Thursday, a week from today. And you can hear it, anybody can hear it on Spreaker, on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, and on SoundCloud. We air at 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. And, you know, it would be wonderful for you guys to like us, comment, and share us with your colleagues and your friends, because there's always so much wonderful information shared by my speakers. And again, I want to thank you so much, Susan. And is there any last thoughts that you want to share before we go off the air?
There is, Nancy, and it would be this. Each one of us is extremely unique, one of a kind. There is not another person in the world who has your combination of experience, education, strengths, natural skills. So embrace that uniqueness, because the world needs the gifts that only you can give.
So true. Thank you. And
thank you.
Listen to this and take it to heart, because there have been such important morsels of information throughout this entire conversation. So if you take that, you can put it to work, you can get productive, and your business can soar higher. Until we talk again next time, you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and be good out there. Thanks, y'all, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly with host Nancy Becker. Join Nancy every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio.